Hi, welcome to part one of Nursery Training, Virtual Edition. So, sorry you couldn't make it to the in-person training, but I will attempt to make this video educational, if not entertaining. So, anyway, let's go ahead and get started. What you are going to need is you are going to need this. I'm going to be referring to it as I go along, okay? So first of all, welcome to Nursery. Thank you so much for serving on our team. I look forward to getting to know you more this year. And yeah, may God bless you as you serve and as you come alongside of Him to love on our kids, and may He give you everything that you need. So our goals in Nursery are at the beginning of the booklet. We've got these on page 2. In short, our goals are to show our children God's love, to proclaim the gospel to them, and to provide a transformative experience for our volunteers. So this first part of the training is going to go over how can we care for our children. So, of course, when you are taking care of the kids in the rooms, you want to make sure that you are doing things with your body language, with your language that is communicating care and love and respect. So, making eye contact with each child, using their names, giving them high fives or pats on the back, sitting down, getting to know them, playing with them. Those are things that show God's love for sure. And we are going to go ahead and start on page 11 with this. So turn to page 11. So pages 11 through 16 just goes over some of the basics of interacting with our kids. The way that you speak to them, you want to make sure that you remain positive, that you don't yell at them, that you are encouraging, that you don't shame them, that you aren't using harsh words. You want to make sure that you are using positive, good touch as opposed to like bad touch. And what we mean by that is just touch that is respectful, that's not going to make them feel uncomfortable, that's not crossing any boundaries. So, things like high fives, like I said, are totally fine. Fist pumps, holding hands, that's fine, but you don't want to be like kissing them or giving piggyback rides or, touching their private parts in any way, right? And in terms of discipline, our kids are not always going to, they're not always going to act perfectly, right? They're learning how to behave. With 0 to 5-year-olds, you're probably not going to see like major discipline issues. But if there's minor things like a child isn't sharing, you want to be helpful and show them the right way. And so sit down, like calmly explain to them like why we share, perhaps offer them a consequence like, hey man, I'm going to count to 3, and if you can't share, then you're going to have to lose the toy, and that sort of thing. But if you are having difficulty, like a child is being openly defiant, or if they are doing something that is hurting another child or is harmful to another child, you want to make sure that that is stopped immediately, okay? So you can obviously feel free to call the Sunday team leader in. They're going to be patrolling the hallways, and they can help you out if you're like kind of at the end of not sure what you are doing. Or you can also call the parent if you can't figure things out on your own. The Sunday team leader can kind of direct you towards that. Basically, if the child is having like extreme temper tantrums, if they are being utterly defiant, if they are using foul language, hitting, biting, kicking, or other violent behavior, you want to get them out of there, and you want to make sure that you are calling their parent. If their parent is contacted like 2 weeks in a row, then we are going to have to ask the parent to come and stay with them in nursery until, and work with their child to correct the behavior. But I have actually only called a parent once about the child's behavior in the last year. and we've never seen the 2 weeks in a row kind of thing. So we also want to remember that this is, should be a Sabbath for parents too, and so we don't want to bother parents unnecessarily, and we want to make sure that we're a blessing to them. Sometimes, just being a parent is hard, so if a child's having those difficulties, just remember it's also not the parent's fault. Every kid is different, and every kid has different needs, so we want to make sure that we are giving kids what they need to the best of our abilities. If you are there's a few what do I do when scenarios on page 15. What do I do if the child is crying? A lot of times we're going to get kids who it's hard for them to be away from their parents, right? And so walking up and down the hallways with them, if they're like a baby, patting them on the back, trying to distract them, giving them a snack, that often helps. But lots of times just repeated exposure to the nursery and just repeated care from the adult volunteers and teen volunteers will be helpful. And I think I've gone over some of those other things. There is the scenario when the child gets hurt, but we are going to go over that in a couple of minutes. So, so that's just in general how our interactions with children should be. We also, another way that we show them our care is by safeguarding them against abuse. Unfortunately, child abuse and sexual abuse is just rampant in our culture. If you look up the statistics, it's pretty concerning, and unfortunately, it does happen in the church. Lord willing, hopefully, this has never happened in our church, but ultimately, I don't know, right? So, what we need to do is make every effort that we can to protect our children to the best of our ability. So, one of the things that we do is we do run a background check on every single volunteer. And so if you haven't, I probably contacted you about background checks, but if you haven't had a background check run, you need to make sure that you fill out your paper and get it to me ASAP, okay? Because otherwise, you're not gonna let you serve in the nursery, okay? Pages 6 through 7 of your booklet goes over the child protection policy, so go ahead and turn to page 6. Okay. So in general, we have the rule of 2, which reads, there must always be 2 people, ideally non-related adults, present when supervising 1 or more children. Because, if there's additional witnesses there, then, nothing bad's going to happen, Lord willing, right? And if anything did happen, then there's a witness, right? Okay. Also, you should never be alone with a child other than your own. So, for instance, if kids don't get picked up after nursery and there's one or, maybe one child left and it's you and the other volunteer that are in the room, if you need to go find the parent, you guys should go together rather than just one person taking the child. And if a child needs to go to the bathroom, if they're able to use it themselves, then you can just take them out in the hallway. You can just stand in the hallway with the door open and be like, hey, do you need help? Okay, make sure you flush, make sure you wash your hands, and then and that's how we'll do it. And then if you're changing diapers, just make sure another adult or teen is there in the room with you just as a witness. If the child needs more support in the bathroom, then make sure you get the Sunday team leader to help you, or one or two of the teen volunteers to be in there. Just make sure you're not alone with the child so that we are protecting them. Also, if you have any concerns, like that the child might be getting abused or neglected by their caregivers or parents, page 24 goes over that. So this is on reporting concerns. So you can certainly hotline if you want. I had an extended conversation with Jim Ward and Tony Tompkins about this last year. The hotline website, and it is unclear whether volunteers are mandated reporters, but I am definitely a mandated reporter. So if you have any concerns that a child might be getting abused or neglected at home, you should definitely talk to me or talk to Jim Ward, the internal ministries pastor, and we will take the appropriate steps to figure out more information, and then we will do what we need to do to ensure the safety and well-being of the child. Okay? All right. Next, we're going to move to physical health and protection. So you want to go ahead and turn to pages 18 through 19, I believe. Okay. Actually, nope. You're going to turn to page 20. Okay. And I also have an updated or like an extra choking handout. Okay, so we're going to do a special feature on choking. That is actually going to be the next video, so stay tuned.